we don't know right now. So I have to. Well, that's what Jeff just said. He said, we're going on a trip. When we get back, let us know where to go. I said, as soon as I know, I'll let you know. Come on in. Which, speaking of this, I don't know if they want me or don't want me to say anything. I'm just going to say this, and don't ask anymore. Keep Marty in your prayers. That's all I'm saying. Can you all just do that? Yes. She's fine. She's going to be fine. But just when you are in your prayer time, send a little extra something to her. Is that okay to say? She didn't tell me to say it or not to say it. So I said what I said. And you should know I'm tired and anointed and emotional, and I think I'm having PMS, and BJ and I had a conversation. I said, why are you making me cry already? I said, I feel like I said that. Anyway, so I don't know. Today could determine who, today's going to be an interesting day. I'm just going to say that. And it's good. It's good. But we're in the middle of, somebody messaged me yesterday, wanted to know if I wanted to go to the parade yesterday. I don't think you realize what we're in the middle of. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But no, I don't have, the fact that I'm here today is extraordinary. But it's all good. I hope you've been watching the 11:11s. I'm going to say this in all humility. I think the things I've shared this past week are probably the most important things I've ever said in 54 years of ministry. And I say that to the glory of God. But if you truly hear my voice, you may want to check those out, because some very important things have been said. Thank you for your great feedback, your great words. Danny doesn't like attention, but he sent me something this week that meant everything to me. It was kind of an encapsulated sort of every stage of ministry that we've been in and where we are now, and it was like, wow, that just kind of rocked my world. And several of you have really understood the prophetic symbolism of where we are in the house. Have we had a meeting since my mom was? Ken, them boys are here. I don't think they like being called them boys. I'm glad one of you's white, because that could have been, it could be problematic if you were a couple of black men. We can only get by with it because one of y'all's white. Otherwise, we would never say that. Get in here, you boys. Those menses.
I like the boys, thank you.
Dale says he likes the boys, so that's good. You know, we mean it like boys with a Z.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember, good Lord, so much has happened. Have we met since? We've met here since my mom's been in a facility, right? No? Oh, Lord. We're not going to have time for the Lord's Prayer. I got so much to tell y'all. We better just get, I'm sure you got me something real pretty to look at, Michelle, but we're going to have to just say the regular one. I don't have time for all that metaphysical stuff. We're going to have to go King James Version. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Tell somebody you love them and sit down. So let me just say this. I don't have a series for February. I don't have a title for today. Charles, I actually started to send something. Something I would only say to you, but I was going to do I do have an outline. Here's an acrostic. It's nothing I could have said in mixed company. It was my state of mind I was in. But I do have an announcement. We are having Meditation Weekend number 28, and we're going to Jekyll Island, and it's going to be on Easter weekend. This is the 6th time we've gone to Jekyll Island, and this will be the 2nd time we've done Easter there. Because it is a Christian holiday, we're going to observe the Christian rites. So on Saturday evening, I'm going to be serving communion, and on Sunday morning, Easter Sunday morning, I'm going to be doing water baptism. We did that last time. Some of y'all, because it rained a little bit, y'all freaked out and drove back too early, and you blew it. You missed such a beautiful baptismal service. So regardless of what happens, just stick around a little bit longer. Y'all don't have to get back that quick. Y'all aren't that important. Settle down. And and if you're worried about cold water, I'm not going to dunk you in the freezing cold Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to sprinkle you. But if you want to do that, get in here. Come on. But anyway, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Hey, y'all. Hey, glad you're here. That picture doesn't translate all that well on the screen, but Ken took that picture. That was Easter Sunday 2017, maybe? No, it was more recent than that. Whenever we were there, 2022, I think, 21. But you know, it rained early that morning, so I just did a live stream. But when it cleared, he went out, and you can't really tell on the way the resolution is on the screen, but he went out on our balcony and took that, and it totally looks like a crown in the sky. When you see it in high definition, it's one of the most. Avery and I were texting about it this week. I said, you know, if the only thing that came out of that weekend was getting that shot, it would have been worth it. It was very, especially because, yes, I know it's just a cloud formation. If it had been a big cross in the sky, I don't know that it would have gotten my attention so much. The fact that it was a crown felt really confirming to what I had talked about the night before. So that is super. You know, I believe not every picture that BJ takes is supernatural, but there have been times that he's taken certain pictures that I've shared over and over again because they were a miracle. They were miraculous. And Ken's taken, and some of y'all have too, but especially BJ and Ken. But that one said a lot to me. And so I don't know what will happen, but we're.
Please forgive me for interrupting, but this was.
No, I will not forgive you. And why don't I have water?
I'll interrupt and then I'll go get your water.
Had to fight for a microphone. Y'all are gone for 2 weeks. Everybody falls apart. Say it.
I want people to see, I saw this for the first time when he started posting this, but the tongues of fire, you think that's the sun, but it also looks like tongues of fire over the heads of people who have a crown.
Come on, Jesus.
I'll be right back.
I only said that because I was going to take a sip while you were talking. That was the point.
Occupy yourself somehow.
Be prepared to be. There will be a lot of yelling today. Yesterday, dear God, I'm trying to get everything out of the loft so that Judah can move in. Bless his heart, because Judah lives here. He lives up there. He's got to move out. He's got to get his house part moved out. So because I was going to sell the loft, but now I'm going to wait, which Ernie says may be. He said this actually may serve you better like a year from now, because of what they're about to do in Midtown. I think your property value is going to go up. And I'm like, all right, from your mouth to God's ear. But but sweet Jesus, not only have we been renovating the house since, I've got so much to tell you, I don't even know where to start. I'll start with the most immediate. Because I rented a van day before yesterday, and you don't realize how much stuff you have till you start moving out of a place. I told Ken today, because when we leave here, we've got to go back and try to get the rest of our clothes out. And I haven't even moved furniture out, just all the stuff you think, oh, we're done. And like, oh, I forgot about these 7 cabinets and this storage. I told him today, I said, I swear to God, I am not buying another stitch of clothes for the rest of my life. I'm not buying a new suit for my mother's funeral. I'm like, what the hell are we doing with all these clothes? I only wear 3 things. I have got a closet. I mean, it's insane, the closet that I have. And the plan was I'll go through it and I'll take stuff to Goodwill, but I haven't had time for that. You can't believe all that I have done in the last 4 weeks. So I'm just like, we're just going to have to move it. And so the reason I'm yelling at you is because yesterday he said, because we took both our cars there. And he said, I wanted to get a haircut. And I said, well, I'm going to take this stuff back to Xfinity, so at least I won't be charged for, which they already got me for another month. I should have taken it 3 days ago. But anyway, so we were yelling at each other. We don't yell. We were yelling because I said, we need to go now because I'm going to get all this stuff in my front seat, and I'm not going to be able to get you in the car, so let's go now. And he said, I'm going to go with you. This is how we were talking. Because I was like, do you have a bag I can put this stuff in? Because I don't want to bring all these. I've got the router and the stuff. I don't want to walk in there dropping stuff. He said, I'm going to go in with you. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm dropping you out to get a haircut, and I'm going to go to Xfinity. In Jesus' name, stop arguing with me. I don't have time. This is what we're doing. Get in the car. It gets worse from here, so if you can't take it now, I suggest you leave. Anyway.
Since you're yelling, the Metron, that Michelle was doing a flame of fire also. So just so you know, yeah.
Oh, I see it. Michelle, you go, girl.
You know that's what, when the Pope's hat, it's called a mitre, it's supposed to look like a flame of fire from the day of Pentecost. That's what that is. Okay, let's see. Most of y'all follow me on Facebook, so you're pretty up to speed on everything. In case you don't know, 4 weeks ago, Thursday was 4 weeks. My mom fell and broke her pelvis. I was at the house. I was still there, and I heard her screaming, and I ran downstairs. She's at on the kitchen floor. So I tried to help her up, and she had to go to the bathroom. And with every step, she was screaming. I said, "Mom, this isn't working. I can't." I said, I pulled up a chair. I said, "You're just going to sit down. I've got to call an ambulance." So we were for a week in the hospital. I thought she died at least 3 times. She was my grandmother was visiting her, who passed away in '92, and when I would ask her, I said, "Mom, what did grandmother look like?" He heard it without missing a beat. She described everything she had on. I said, what? I said, was her hair piled up on top of her head like the way I remember? And she says, no. I mean, it was like that kind of stuff. She told me that Dottie Rambo appeared to her. I called Reba, and Reba said, no, it's not a hallucination. It was my mom. It's my mom coming to get her. And she said, your dad's outside in a cab waiting for me. And so a day later, I said, we were at the hospital. I said, Mom, is Dad still out there in the cab? And she said, yeah, he is. And I said, well, why don't you go with him? And she said, I don't have anything to wear. I said, you look fine. Just go like you are. And she said, well, I want y'all to go with me. I said, no, he didn't come for us. And she really fought it. And I remember, my Uncle Don, her twin brother, who passed away on New Year's Day, he said, these words have echoed in my head because they had gotten into, they were always having a political argument all the time. That's one thing I don't miss about either of them, because when Don used to post something about Donald Trump, I'd be like, Don, there's $100 in it for you if you'll take that post down, because what I'm going to have to hear for the next. Anyway, he told me, he said, I love your mother. I've known her since we were in the womb together. She's the most stubborn woman I've ever met. So he said, be prepared. She's not going to go easy. And he was right, because she basically told everybody that's been coming for her. And she's been seeing people for weeks. She's seen so many people that the other day I was going to leave Ken. I said, you just want to stay here? And he said, don't leave me in the house with all these people. They're coming for me. I said, well, get in the car. Because she's been, it was just a few weeks ago. I thought he had gotten up to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, good Lord, he's in there a long time. And I looked out. I said, he's not in the bathroom. That's lights coming from downstairs. And I go down there. I said, Mom, what are you doing? She's got her purse, her phone. She's trying to open the front door. I said, Mom, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? She said, those people in there told me it's time to go. I said, well, you're not going right now. You've got to go back to bed. And of all the years that she said this to me, now I was saying to her, I am not going to tell you again. Get back in that bed and do not get up again. So, while she was still in the hospital, I thought, well, if she's going, because on 2 or 3 occasions, it just looked like she flatlined. And so I said, Mom, let me make a video of you. I said, go. I made her say everybody's name. I said, tell Jared you love him. Tell Christine. And she went and named everybody. And as soon as it was over, her head dropped, her mouth fell open. I totally thought she passed. I sat there for a few minutes and watched. I said, Mom? And then she rallied, and I'm like, Dawn, you were right. She ain't going to go easy. So the following day, the hospital was great. We were I still call it DeKalb General, but it's Emory of Decatur now. And they were great. The ER was crowded, but they were great. I have no complaints with them. But I knew I could not take her home. Like I walked just downstairs long enough just to get a candy bar, and I came back and she's hanging out of the bed trying to get up, and I had to call the nurse. I said, I don't know how to move her without making her injury worse. And so then they start telling me I'm about to be evicted. Like, come on in. This is going to be a while, so you should just come on in.
Not ready.
Well, get ready. They said, well, we're going to have to release her. And I said, I can't take her home like this. My house isn't wheelchair accessible. I can't. And they said, well, can I set up hospice? And they said, well, they can come like 2 hours a day. I said, oh, no, that's not going to work. She can't do anything. And there was talk about a dark night of the soul. I'm like, I said, God, we got to get a plan here, because this isn't going to work. I mean, she can't stand, she can't sit on a toilet, she can't sit on a bedpan. I mean, I'm not equipped for this. And let me tell you something about the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit's a helper. You heard me?
Yep.
And the most powerful prayer you can pray sometimes is just help. I got some help. I need help. And I prayed that prayer, and a social worker got in touch with me, and I told her my situation. And while she was working on it, the physical therapist came, and they said, do you want to do therapy? She said, we tried therapy with your mother before. I said, you can try it again. I said, I don't know if that's what she's going for. I said, but if you want to try some therapy and see if you think you can recommend her to a rehab place, which that didn't go well. Mom did not understand what the men were there to do. And you know what I mean? Yeah. And that got real bad. And I mean, she didn't understand. She thought they were. So anyway, when they got through, he said, one of them said, he said, I can't really recommend therapy. He said, but if you don't have any place to take her, I'll make the recommendation. It at least will buy you some time. But he said, I don't think she's a candidate for rehab. I said, okay, that helps a little, but that's not what I wanted to hear. Well, the social worker comes, and she was like, I'm going to tell you something. Angels are real, and they walk among us. And this sweet social worker, I know she was just doing her job, but it's like it was like an angelic visitation. And I had already had, I think I shared this with you, but, you know, this surviving poodle who, y'all, I've spent $1,600 on this poodle in the last 2 weeks. And somebody that grew up at Church of the Now is taking care of her, which is great, but she needs to. I've already decided if Valine calls me one more time, and it's not her responsibility. I told her, I said, if she goes to the vet, let me know, and she did. If she calls me again, I'm like, stay right where you are. I'm coming to get her, and she's fixing to get poodle heaven. It'll be humane. I'll take her to the vet, but I'm like, we can't. She's 15 years old. I cannot keep spending money on this ancient dog. Anyway, for some time now, it's been a problem. You know, Mom cannot care for this dog, and I already did a post about this, so most of you know it. And this is TMI. It's gross. I'm sorry, but she kept the dog in the room with her, so the dog is, you know, supposed to use the paper in the bathroom. Well, you know, she's never really been housebroken, and Mom can't see where she's walking, and it's been a nightmare. Wow. It's just been a nightmare. I mean, when she's in the ER, I'm looking at her on the gurney, and the bottom of her shoes is covered with dog crap, and I've tried to stay on top of it. I can't tell you how many times I've been on my hands and knees cleaning up after those poodles. And there's no point in yelling at her because she doesn't understand. It's just been bad. And the day that the paramedics came, as they're getting her, I'm looking around, and there's dog poop all over the floor. And I'm like, I can't deal with this now. I'll have to deal with it later. So in the middle of the night, what? You thought I was going to say shit? I ain't scared of you, Miss Alice, because I done heard you say stuff. Like when my mom said, tell me about that show that Chandra's on. I'm like, you just watch TBN, Mom. Anyway, back when I was still in the ER with her, you know, like finally around 3 o'clock in the morning because they couldn't find a bed for her. And I think I did share this. I shared this with y'all, didn't I? But anyway, finally the nurse came to me. She said, I'm not kicking you out, but there's really nothing you can do here. And we're giving her everything in ER that she would get if she was in a room. She says, why don't you, she says, you look exhausted. Why don't you go home? So I thought, well, I'll at least go clean up the dog crap. And I go in, and the floor is immaculate. And it was like, let me never underestimate a small act of kindness. Because when you're really spread thin and exhausted, one little extra thing that you have to deal with, I know it's a first world problem. I know there's people starving, or I know there's homeless people. I'm just saying, when you're living in your real world, it's a lot. And I came in to clean up dog crap one more time, and it's all clean. I'm like, what the heck? I called LaDonna. I said, have you been over here? And she said, I saw that bathroom because Mom, she tracked all in it, and it's just a mess. I know y'all's families are perfect, and you've never dealt with elderly people with elderly dogs, but it's a lot. Let me tell you something. If you're going to buy a dog for somebody, do it when they're a little bit younger, because when you buy an elderly person an animal, somebody's got to take care of that thing when they can't do it. Just think about that. Buy puppies for young people. I told y'all it's going to get worse. And LaDonna said, I just knew you couldn't handle that. And she knows the code to get in. I said, good God, you are a freaking angel. I mean, I can't tell. I'm standing there at 4 o'clock in the morning looking at the clean floor, just sobbing. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Just thank you. I couldn't be more grateful if you had just written me a check for $10,000. Just thank you. This is one less thing I have to deal with. So back to the social worker. She said, I've made some calls, and she says, here's a list of 5 places that can take her now. And I said, what's that one down there, Fountain View? And she goes, it's over on Northwood Hills Road. I said, yeah, I'm familiar with that. And I said, actually, my mom and I toured that facility for my dad. And I said, that's available? That would be ideal. It's like less than 15 minutes from my house. I'm familiar with it. It's technically an Alzheimer's memory center. And I said, now, you know, she hasn't been diagnosed with Alzheimer's proper. She's been diagnosed with Parkinson's dementia. And she said, tomato, tomato, it's all the same thing. And come on in. And I said, they can take her. And they said, yeah, they've got a bed available. They said, she said, in fact, they were the first ones to respond. So I said, so how much is it? Because, you know, when I had her in assisted living, that was not covered. I mean, that came out of pocket. And it was cost prohibitive. No regrets. I don't think I would have survived Ken's strokes if I had been taking care of Mom too. And so I never regret that she was in that place. But she says, no, her Medicare and insurance will cover every bit of it, like indefinitely. And I'm like, thank you, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I mean, I'm trying to read the room here, but I'm like, thank you. Thank you for things like Medicare and like Thank you. Well, I don't believe in socialism. Like, well, right at that little moment, a little socialism was real helpful. And so she's been there for, I don't know, 3 weeks now. And they are angels there. And I had to meet with the care team. I feel like I told y'all this. Online. Okay. I had to meet with the care team. Oh, well, first of all, you have to bring like at least 2 weeks worth of clothes. Well, our closets are not like. There's no way to. I mean, we've done the best we can trying to care for an elderly person, do her laundry. I mean, it's like what you would need a staff of people that I've done, and Ken, when he's not at work, definitely helps. But for a year now, I mean, I've been doing it. I have a cleaning lady that comes in once a month and helps me with the laundry. But it's, you know, I'm dealing with an elderly, incontinent person, and laundry's overwhelming at a certain point. And so I thought, I don't know what to go get her. I'm just going to go buy her stuff. And this is right before they were expecting the ice storm, so I go to Walmart. Of course, people are panicking in what, you know, the line. It looks like we're in Moscow. The lines are snaking around, and I'm walking through I've never bought women's clothes before. I'm walking through the women's section asking ladies, like, is this sleepwear or is this? And, you know, nobody was helpful because they were expecting the apocalypse and they're pushing it out of the way. And I mean, it doesn't sound like that big a deal, but I had not slept in nearly 72 hours, and I'm walking around with a pair of panties in my hand, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I need help. And I finally pulled together what I think was 2 weeks worth of clothing. And which was, that just about did me in. Shopping may not be a big, but I'm out of my element. And people are glaring at you like, why are you in here buying women's clothes? I'm like, I promise you they're not for me. But could you help me? I don't know, and I don't know what her sizes are, and I don't. And so I finally get the stuff together, and I bring it there, and they said, well, you have to take it in the room and itemize everything. And again, first world problem. It's just, I said, what do you mean itemize? Well, we have to make sure. I said, oh, I trust y'all. Just please take. And oh no, it's policy. And you know, I sit down with this pile of clothes and this stack of papers, and I'm just like glazed over. And this guy walked in, and you know, I could tell he was gay the minute he walked in. I'm like, thank God for homosexuals. Thank God. I love gay people so much. God bless the LGBT community. Because he walked in there, he said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm sorry, I'm just a little overwhelmed. He said, why? I said, I got to itemize all this stuff. He said, give me that. He said, I know how to do this. I do this all the time. He said, get out of here. I said, no. He said, get your ass out of here. I got this. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. Again, I know it's just dog crap, and it's just, but, you know, I was like, thank you. Next time I saw him, I didn't even ask. I just would have said, man, you just saved my life the other night. Thank you. So the next day I had to meet with the care team. It's 4 people, and they ask you everything about what does she eat, what, you know, just like you have to give all this information, and it turns into like a therapy session, because they're asking you all kind of stuff. You know, what are her contributions? What are your long range goals? Is this, do you want her here indefinitely, or is this just whatever? And these 4 women, they each have a different role, but I swear they were like prophetesses. And I know this is their job. They do this all the time. But one of them, her name's Karen, and oh God. I was kind of telling them what not just the last year, but, Dad was, I don't need Kleenex. Dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Mom with Parkinson's, and Ken's dad with leukemia, all within like a 3-week period. And that was a lot. And Ken I nearly didn't see him for an entire year, because he stayed home, and he stayed out with his dad and took care of him all the way to the end. But he and I have been together 14 years, and 12 of those 14 years have been, Lord, yes, we have gone to New York once a year. Yes, we've gone out to eat a lot. But you know what we've mostly done? Taking care of our parents. That's why, be prepared for what I'm about to say. When some religious a-hole wants to talk about my gay lifestyle, I'm like, you know what? You go to hell. You have no idea what my life is like. And you know what my gay lifestyle is? It's me and this man right here taking care of elderly people. I don't know how in the world I would have taken care of my dad without him. He hasn't been as hands-on with my mom for obvious reasons, but with Dad, I've told you this before, we never could get the bedpan thing worked out with Dad, ever. And so Ken and I would have to take him to the toilet, and he was dead weight. And we were like struggling. I was thinking about it this morning, because I peed in there this morning. And I was like, we're struggling to get him to the toilet. And I looked at Mom, I said, I'm going to tell you something. I know it was hard for y'all when I came out, but you better be glad I'm married to a man right now, because a woman would be no help to me whatsoever. Are y'all still here? If anybody needs to leave, you can leave now, because I'm probably going to thin the ranks. I haven't even gotten to the good part yet. So I'm talking to these women. Are y'all okay? Yeah. And I was talking about, I've tried to be there for her and take care of everything. And, this is nothing against my mom. She is who she is. And I have been, in the last few weeks, I've been able to see her in a way that I haven't in a long time, and remember the good parts of her. And we've had one day last week, we had, I think it was the best conversation we've ever had in our entire life. But my mom never dated anybody but my dad. She saw my dad when she was 11. And in the age of Epstein files, I hesitate to say stuff like this, right, but that's the way it was back then. And my dad would have been 16 at the time, and she said she rode in a car with a group of people, and she knew she was going to marry him, and she never dated anybody else. And she was 15 when they were engaged. They got married when she was 17. She had me when she was 19. My mom wasn't just, in the 50s, that wasn't that unusual for a woman to be married at 17. My mom was a very young 17, very, very ill-prepared, virtually like a child. And one of the last lucid things my dad ever said to me, I was staying with him in the hospital, and this was actually months before he actually did die, but he thought he was dying that night. And he said, Jamal, you've got to take care of your mom. And I said, well, of course. He said, no, you don't understand. You're going to have to take care of her. I said, of course, Dad. He said, you don't understand what I'm saying. He said, Your mother is a child. She's not a woman. I know she's in her 80s, but she's a little girl. And as I'm cleaning out her room, I've had a dumpster out in the driveway, and the stuff I'm throwing away, I'm like, she's a little girl. I mean, she just is. There's no point in me being mad. Does that offend you that I say that? I'm just saying that's what I've been. It's not just taking care of an elderly person. It's taking care of a woman who never pumped her own gas until my dad died. So she's like completely dependent. Like you have to do everything. And as I've told you before, I've spent my whole life hearing about my traumatic birth, and I was born breech without a C-section, and it nearly killed. I mean, I know. I didn't realize till last week I've really absorbed a lot of guilt. I'm sorry that I had this horrible. I didn't ask to be born. I did tell her a few months ago. I said, Mom, my whole life I've heard. Every time I take you to the doctor, you tell him how I nearly killed you. And you didn't walk for 3 weeks. I said, let me tell you something. After taking care of you and Dad for the last decade, we're even now. My debt is paid. I said, don't tell the doctor again how horrible my birth was, because I've more than made up for it. So back to these 4 women. I'm telling stuff, and a couple times I got emotional, and this Karen grabbed my hand and she said, you need to understand something. She said, what you've done for your parents is more than what 4 or 5 kids do for their parents. You've done it all by yourself. You're dealing with way too much guilt. Well, of course, I went out under the power then. I'm like, And I said, well, I'm going to try to come up here every day. And they're like, no, you're not. You don't come up here when you feel like it. These people don't know if you're here every day or not. Don't you? She said, she squeezed my hand. She said, you don't understand. You've done enough. She says, let us take over now. We've got this. She says, we are skilled to take care of this. Come up here when you feel like it. And if you don't feel like it, don't come up here. Your mother's going to be fine. I looked at those women and said, I've never loved 4 people more than I love the 4 of you right now. And every time I go and I see them, I always ask the ladies' permission. I said, can I hug you? It's just like, I think I've said the phrase, thank you, Jesus, more in the last 4 weeks than I have in my entire life. So, Mom is fine. I was telling BJ, I can't tell you everything I told BJ before service, but Christina wanted me to, I texted all my kids, telling them how much I love them, proud of them, and I don't think they got the text. Judah finally put a heart on it. And Christina's like, I need somebody to take a picture of me and Mimi to Mimi. I said, okay, but did you see the part where I said, I love y'all and I'm proud of y'all and I miss you? It's like, yeah, but I need a picture. I'm like, I'll get a picture. And it's not that big a deal, but the next day, I find a picture. I send it to Walgreens to have it printed out. I buy a frame. I take it up there. I take a picture of me giving it to Mom for her. Mom who doesn't recognize her in the picture. And I'm like, see that? I take the picture. She's like, oh, thanks. Okay, you're welcome. Again, they don't know. They God bless them. They don't know. That's their grandmother. Like, God bless them. And if they're watching today, they'll probably be upset with me that I said that. Get in line. I have so many people upset with me. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? If you think I'm a bad preacher, you won't be the first one. So somehow I will survive. But to the good conversation, now when I saw her this last time, she definitely had declined. But then there was one day, the days have all run together. Because in the meantime, it's just how we roll. We have, the changes we have made in the house, you may have pictures of it, I don't know. But we have a strong synergy together. He can do anything. And I can go online and buy stuff, and like Wayfair is delivered, and some of her stuff is cool, and we've kept it, and it's I love that verse where Jesus said the kingdom of God is like a man who brings treasure out of the house, both the old and new. I'm literally living in that. So that's our catharsis. When I would go home from the hospital, I'd stop by. I've been to Home Goods so much that I walk in, they go, "Hey, Mr. Swilley, how you doing?" I'm like, "Good." Back to get, because that's just how I want an environment to look a certain way, and that's what I do. So and that's with my mom's blessing. But there was one day last week, the days have all kind of run together, but I went up to see her, and she was, typically the way this place operates, there's like a nurse's pod, like and they've got sitting areas and rooms and game rooms and TV rooms, and you have to go, like every time except this last time I've been there, she hasn't even been in her room. I have to go find her because she's in a wheelchair, but they've got her somewhere, which is, when she was at assisted living, she was a hermit. She's her and Fox News in there 24 hours a day. And I paid extra for her to get room service because I said, "Mom, why don't you go eat with the people? It'll save me like a lot of money." She said, "They're so old." I said, "They're younger than you are." And so now this place is like, "Nope, we don't let them stay in the room. If they can get up, we make them go do stuff." So I found Mom, and she was in a surprisingly good mood. She wasn't mad that I put her there. And first couple of visits wasn't so good. And a couple of the staff members said, "Do not take anything they say personally. They all do this." But this day it was fine. She was fine not having a phone. Mom not having a phone is the most beautiful thing, because she calls people all night long. Like, I thought she was just calling me all night long. I'm talking to my cousin Harold. She says, "Oh no, she's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I said, "Good Lord, where does she have time?" Because she's calling me from downstairs. She didn't say anything about her phone. I said, "Mom, who cut your hair?" Because she looks different now. She's not wearing any makeup, and she looked exactly like my grandmother. That DNA is a trip, because I'm like, there's my grandmother. But apparently Clarice and LaDonna must have gone up to visit her, and they showed the beautician there, who is really sharp and very cool. They showed her a picture of what her hair normally looked like. And I said, "Mom, you look," I said, "Who did your nails?" "I did them." I said, "You did? Like, where'd you get polished?" "Somebody gave it." So, like, she's doing good. So we have this really good conversation, and somebody had just, are y'all still with me? Yeah. Somebody that day had posted a video from 9 years ago. I don't know what no, they didn't post it. They liked on it, so it put it in my feed. And it was, we were, for some reason, we were at Don and Clarice's house, and my Aunt Ernestine was there, and my cousin Harold, my cousin Janet, and my mom. Usually it's Clarice at the piano. My mom sat down and played When They Ring Those Golden Bells, and she sounded really good. And so I showed her the video. I said, Mom, you're really a good keyboard player. I said, you're a better keyboard player than I am. I said, your chord structure was really good. And I was asking her all about piano lessons. I said, when did you learn to play the organ? Because playing the organ is a whole other thing. You're playing two different keyboards and you're thinking of a bass line with your feet. It messes with my ADD. I'm like, I can't do it. But my mom could. She was a great organist. And I said, how did you learn to play the organ? And she says, when your dad worked for that guy in Chattanooga, and his wife was in love with your dad. She was always trying to get him in bed. But she taught me how to play the organ. I said, Mom, you thought every woman was in love with Dad. And but we were having like this really great conversation, and I was reminding her of. It was just good that I could say this stuff and really mean it, And I said, you really. I said, you hung in there with Dad, and you helped him pastor those churches, and even you did stuff you didn't want to do, and some of the later in life, Dad did very well. The last 22 years of their life, North Highland was very good to them, and they had a beautiful home on a lake. But in the early years, when we lived at the parsonages I grew up in, they don't even exist now. They're like, when I go back and visit those churches, they've torn them down. They were so horrible. I mean, I know some of y'all might top my story if you grew up in certain neighborhoods. I doubt you topped it by much, because I said, Mom, do you remember when we first moved to Bremen? The night when we moved in, there was 10 inches of snow on the ground. The house wasn't insulated. The parsonage wasn't insulated, and there was no heat. I said, you remember the first week that we lived in that parsonage? You and me and Dad and the dog all slept in the same bed with hats and coats and gloves, and because we had to. I mean, that was the way parsonages were then. And if you back in the Church of God, if you complained about it, they just voted you out. The pastor was like the least important person. Like the pastor worked. That's why I thought, if I ever have a church, I'm starting my own church. And God knows thousands of people came and left from Church of the Now in 30 years, but it wasn't me. You know what I mean? I'm like, if you don't like something, I ain't going anywhere. I was here first. I know what that's like when, you can't rock the boat because the board's going to fire you. I'm like, not in my world. Anyway, some of the stuff she remembered, some of it she didn't. But this is the part that just blew me away. I said, Mom, you really had a wonderful life. And I said, you've done a lot of good things. I said, I was telling the care team about some of the things that you did, and she was a great artist. And like, she could do portraiture. Like, she can do portraits of people and capture a likeness. I can't do that. And so I was giving her those kudos and really meant it. And so she said, yeah, and I have some great grandchildren and some great grandchildren. So I was not going to tell her this, because Sophia, my granddaughter, is going to be a pilot. And she's been accepted into the premier flight school in America, and she's flying. When Christina first told me that, I said, Christina, don't tell Mom that. Because Mom, first of all, she's terrified to fly. Secondly, she doesn't think women should have careers. She thinks women are supposed to stay home and wear frilly things for their husband and keep him happy, if you know what I mean. And there's nothing about Sophia being a pilot that Mom would approve of at all. Her thing would be like, that girl's got no business. She ought to be married. In that sense, Mom's from right out of the 50s. So we're having this really great conversation. I said, well, since you brought up grandchildren, I wasn't going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. I said, Sophia's going to be a pilot, and she's going to flight school. And she's already flown a couple of times. Not solo, but she's flown. So I'm like, wait for it, wait for it. My mother said, well, I'm sure they'll teach her the right way to do it, and she'll know the right buttons to push, And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. What you talking about, Willis? Who are you? And then I said, when Christina first told me, I said, it made me a little nervous. I'm going to tell you, because, you know, it's just a year ago that Sophia flipped a car, although statistically flying is safer than driving. My mother said, well, I think it'd be better to die doing something you enjoy doing than to live in fear.
And you still standing up.
I was like, what did you say? I said, of course she's not going to die. Of course, we pray protection over her. But she said, yeah, that's what she wants to do. She ought to do it. I'm like, this is the lady that didn't let me get my learner's license until I was nearly 18 because she didn't want me to drive a car. Like, really? I'm like, well, okay. This has like been the best conversation we've ever had. So I don't know how long she's going to be with us. I think whoever came to get her from the other side, she clearly sent them back.
She has some things she has to get right.
I guess.
More wisdom on the way.
Maybe. But we're going, I'm not going to postpone this meditation weekend again. Now, you heard me? If they call while I'm there and say she left, I already told them what funeral home. She's going to be cremated. Send her there. I'll be there Sunday afternoon. But I'm ready to go on and live life now. And I told Ken, I said, just so you know, we're going to go to New York in April. Dominic's got prostate cancer. I'm not going to wait until December to see him. Of course, I believe he's going to be okay, but I'm going to see him. I said, I'll get money for my birthday. We'll be able to afford it. That's going to happen. You'll have your, you know what I'm walking in right now? Let your yes be yes and your no be no. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, fine. But I'm living intentionally. And that's one of the perks of aging.
Yes, it is.
Now, Eddie posted something yesterday that actually did make me laugh. He said, aging is like walking through a horror house. Not whorehouse, horror house. Or... That's a different sermon. But he said there's always something jumping out at you and scary you. And I laughed about it because I thought, that is true. It's like there's so many things. Like if I told you things I had to do just today, like I'm dealing with a dermatological issue where they said, oh, we thought you just had one skin cancer. You don't. I said, oh, good. They said, you have 3. I said, oh, okay. So Ken was having to bandage me this morning, and because I got a whole situation going on. I wasn't going to tell you all that. But the point is, it's it just is what it is. I'm going to be fine.
How can he just drop that and keep moving?
What I'm saying is, I know I share a lot. You can't believe what I don't share. Like one day I was telling Howie about my shoulder thing, and he said, you've never talked. I said, what's the point? If I told you how much pain I'm in all the time, you would just sound like I'm complaining, and it doesn't make it any better. So it is what it is. But my point, I'll be fine. This will be fine. My other situation that I can't tell you about, that will be fine. But I'm in the middle of lots of medications right now.
Okay. And manifesting.
And manifesting. But when Eddie posted that, I said, it feels like some mornings you wake up and you're like, that's never hurt before. Or that's never been numb before. And what I do now is let me give it a few days. Because most things run their course. something will hurt like hell for 3 or 4 days, and then you're like, oh, I guess it's gone. And my rule is, okay, we're into our 3rd week now. I guess I'm going to have to make a doctor's appointment. But at a certain age, if you run to the doctor every time you feel something, you would just be in there every day. So I'm just like, choose your battles. And like, this one's hurt for a few days. But even last night, we were laughing because, oh my God, we were so tired. And I was bringing all these books. I'm like, God, don't anybody else give me a book for the rest of your life. If you're buying me a book, throw it away right now. I do not need any more books. So I'm bringing bags of books from the loft to put in a shelf. So I had to move. There's a chessboard. I had to move it into this room. So I'm trying not to knock over the pieces, which I did and broke one. But so Ken's out in the garage and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, why?" He said, "Well, you're like leaning over like you like you can't breathe or you're having a heart attack." I'm like, "No, I'm trying to put this chessboard down without knocking these pieces over." He said, "It looked like you were having a seizure." I said, "No, I'll let you know. If I have a seizure, you'll be first to know." What?
Heart attack, stroke, he done ran the gamut.
I mean, because all he could see was a silhouette, and it's like I'm just going like. We're at that age, and he has already scared the hell out of me, obviously, last year. But we're at that age where it's every hour or so we're like, "Are you okay?" Because every time something falls, you're like, "Are you okay?" "Yes, I just dropped my computer." Like, okay, I just had to ask,
Right?
because you don't want to just be a nervous Nelly, but you're like, well, that was kind of a loud noise. I guess I should ask.
You know what's possible.
And we're also at the age now. What was that Hercules cartoon where the little centaur would go, "Here comes Herc, here comes Herc." He would say everything twice. I just say everything twice to him because I know we're constantly going, "What? What did you say?" I'm like, "Oh my God." And I end up like, it doesn't matter, never mind. But it's not just him, he does it, we're like, "What did you say?" Like, good God, is this going to get worse?
We laugh because we understand.
Do y'all do that too? I mean, I just say it twice now because like I know you're not going to hear me the first time. All right, so let me here. I'll show you some pictures. Let me show you what we've done. Oh yeah, sure. If you got that, okay. But let me tell you about this video. With Instagram will only allow so much music before it cuts off. So I did this video, and I was running up and down stairs, so you hear a lot of heavy breathing on it. So I said, "I'm sorry the music," because Linda Curtis, that lives up in Michigan, she said, "I love the videography of your, cinematography of your video." I said, "Well, I'm sorry the music ran out, so you hear my heavy breathing." And she said, "Listen, some of us haven't heard heavy breathing in so long. Just let it be." I said, "I'm so glad I didn't have a mouthful. I would have spit my coffee." Oh, that made me laugh. If you didn't see before pictures, you might not appreciate how much we've changed things, but I'll show you. I mean, nothing looks like it looked when we moved in there a year ago. put a big painting since I did this. Now you can get some breathing.
That's excellent. I like that.
Thank you. We love it. We've worked so hard. And most of all this paint job is stuff that Ken's done. I did hire people to do the foyer and the stairwell because it was so high. He was scaring me too much up on that ladder. Do what? Yeah, cats are going. Oh, we just don't. They were only coming because Mom was putting food out for them. Yes, that's the chess set. Some of that's my mom's artwork. And that's mine. Hers and mine are all in there together. That was the first dog I ever had. It was a drawing that she did back in the 60s of him. His name was Bambi. He died my first day of 8th grade. But I don't remember not having him. There's Dr. Sheila's quilt. Where I want to show you. Everything's ready for new flooring to put in what Mom's room. That's going to become a guest room, but that's not ready to show yet. But that's in the works. This is a picture of Uncle Harry and Uncle Earl praying over me at my consecration. It's my favorite picture. And this, that's the corner where Dad died. His hospital bed used to be there, so that was the last time we took them to Florida. And I know y'all. Well, let's see. I know y'all have heard. Thank you, Michelle. That the night we did Dad's during COVID, but it was down in Columbus. There's a prayer tower named after him there. So when we drove back, the kids wanted to come by the house, so we drove back that night. It was probably around 9 o'clock. We go to the door, and there's this huge yellow butterfly that's just at the door of the kitchen. We open it. We open the door, and it flies all the way and lands right on where Dad passed. And it wouldn't go. Finally, Christina put it on her finger and took it outside, and it stayed on her shoulder. It wouldn't go anywhere. And the other thing that happened last week, I had a dumpster out there for a few days, just unloading stuff, and just as I was finishing up, I look in this cardinal. There's a limb from a tree that was over the dumpster. Cardinal just comes and lands and watches me. And when I got the last load put in, Cardinal just flew off. And it was just like, okay. And it just felt like what? Exactly. It was like, it wasn't a dramatic moment. It was just like, all right. And flew off. And, we're very, very happy. And I was going to say stuff. I was going to talk about the Super Bowl and everything. I don't want to get into all that. Because I've talked enough today. I will say something I said, and I am going to stand by this. If you didn't see what I said the other night, I really do try to. I don't say a lot of stuff for several reasons. I don't want to make things hard for Judah because I know some of his parishioners feel a certain way that he has to honor. And where Ken works, they're all like hardcore MAGA. And like he's dreading going in tomorrow because they're playing Kid Rock halftime show on TBN tonight. On TBN. The Trinity Broadcast Network. Let me tell you something about Bad Bunny. I guess I am going to say something. Some people say some of his lyrics are sexual. Have you ever listened to pop music? Everybody's if you weren't going to, if that was going to disqualify you from the halftime, we would never have a halftime show. Furthermore, Kid Rock has a song about having sex with underage girls. The lyrics are, some people call it statutory, I call it mandatory. They're playing that on TBN. And let me say this, the same people that need a separate halftime show are the people who needed separate fountains and separate restrooms. It is the same thing. So I'm just going to say this, because I got family members that work in the White House, and they pastor mega churches, and so I choose my words very carefully. That's why the other night I said, when I heard grab women by the genitals and people I grew up with defended that, I thought, well, I don't know who y'all are anymore. Because I could tell you this, typically I would think maybe gay men are a little more out of the box sexually than other people. But if you were, and I got gay men in here can attest to this, if you were with a bunch of your friends, all gay, and a man sat down and said, if I see a guy I like, I just grab him by the... There's not one person that wouldn't go, dude, what's wrong with you? Who does that? Right. Even among gay men, they'd be like, what? No, you don't do that. And I let that go. Now, I usually will say something on Memorial Day about they're heroes, not suckers and losers. Crazy me. I just think people who die for their country maybe should be honored. And I know you didn't like defund the police. I know you wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. You got it. So I understand the issues. But let me tell you this, and I said this the other night, so I'm going to say this again. If you were cool with and don't let anybody gaslight you and say a White House staffer did that, because that's bull and you know it. Honestly, I would rather, for somebody racist, I would rather them just own it and say, yes, I did it, and I'm not taking it down. I'll be like, all right, well, at least I can respect your weird integrity you're not gaslighting me and telling me that when you're making fun of and imitating a man in a wheelchair and you tell me that's not what you were doing, I'm not crazy. I saw that's what you were doing. At least just say, yeah, that was over the top. I shouldn't have done it, or shut up about it. But don't tell me it didn't happen. But I'm going to have to say this. And I said it the other night, and I got family members that don't feel the way that I feel. Makes it much easier now that my mom can't see the internet. I feel like I've been loosed, Jesus. But I did say this. I said, if you are okay with the president posting a video of Barack and Michelle Obama as apes, if you're either okay with that or sort of saying it's not that big a deal, I love you. God loves you. I don't think you're going to hell. Jesus told the Pharisees, the kingdom of God is within you. But I'm going to need you, unfriend me, block me. And if you went to Church of the Now, I would rather you just not ever tell anybody that you did. Because I am not your pastor and I never have been. If you're cool with that, and look, this is somebody, I've voted Republican more than I've voted Democrat in my life. Okay? I understand that. I understand fiscal responsibility. I understand small government. I get all of that. If you're okay with that, then do not, let's just pretend like we never met each other. And by all means, don't say I was your pastor, because I never was. If you think that's okay, and I could give you a list of other things that have been said that were equally racist, but there's something particularly egregious about that. And I tell you something else. If you don't like Barack Obama, that's fine. Can I tell you something about him? He's not on the Epstein list. Happy Black History Month. Because I'm going to tell you with this all right, it's on now. This thing's big, and it's not just about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's in it. But, I mean, this is a huge network of very rich white men who clearly have been having sex with little girls for years. I mean, it's big. It's like Russia's involved. It's like, I mean, it's.
And that's what it covers.
I mean, it's big. Everything that can be shaken will be shaken. And I've seen people I grew up with kind of even downplaying that. Like, seriously? So we're okay with pedophilia now. Like, okay, just trying to keep up with the evangelical church. Because I don't know. I just always kind of felt like sex with children is off limits. Crazy me.
You ain't by yourself.
So that's fine that evangelical churches are having Super Bowl parties tonight because you don't want to watch Bad Bunny. You're going to watch Kid Rock on TBN. Kid Rock
And you know what else they're doing, right?
on TBN.
They're posting a interview with him right before the Super Bowl, so that you watch that before him.
I just couldn't let that pass. What I was going to talk about. Have you got 5 more minutes? Because this is what I wanted to talk about today. What?
Metron. Come on.
Well, I remember a few years ago, because I'm not a football fan, but we always watch the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a cultural experience, and we don't channel serve it. We've been together for 13, 14 Super Bowls. We just always do. I always watch the Oscars. I always watch the Grammys. I always watch the Super Bowl. I just do. I like all the commercials. And sometimes I care about the team. Tonight I'm like, whoever. I mean, I'm not for either one, but like, it's cool. But a few years ago, they were running this ad. I don't even remember what they were advertising. It might have been Coke or something, but it showed people singing America the Beautiful in different languages. Which I thought was beautiful. By the way, America the Beautiful is not the national anthem. The Star Spangled Banner is. America the Beautiful was written by a lesbian who was married to a woman for 25 years. Look it up. Google it. I'm trying to remember her name, Catherine something. Anyway, I remember watching that and I'm like, oh, that is so cool. I go online and people who went to my church are furious. I'm like, how dare they sing the national anthem? I'm like, you stupid redneck, that's not even the national anthem, and even if it were, this whole country is made up of immigrants. One way or the other. But I was so shocked. And then a few years later, I'm watching the halftime show because I like the halftime show. Right. Before I met him, first year after I came out, I went to, some of y'all know what I'm talking about, Amsterdam over there by Piedmont Park. I went there and watched Super Bowl, full of people. Full of gay people. Nobody watched. They had the Super Bowl on the big screen. Nobody watched it. Madonna did the halftime show. When halftime came on, everybody turned to watch. I love, man.
I love it.
The Super Bowl in a gay bar is a whole other thing. But anyway, I'm watching the halftime show. I don't even remember who was on it that year. And all they did was they just had lots of bright colors. And let me tell you, I know what the gay flag is. I've painted the LGBT flag. But I watched that whole thing, and the word gay did not enter my head one time. I just don't think of the NFL having a big gay agenda. I go online to like, oh, that was a cool, and people are just furious, raging. They're pushing the gay agenda. And I'm like, I thought it was like pop colors from the 60s, like pop art. Like I didn't. So he was saying.
Until they see Bad Bunny, they're going to really be talking tomorrow.
Well, he said, I just want to take off tomorrow and not even go in because I just don't want to hear it all day.
It's going to be all day.
He's going to put a show on.
But let me just say this about Christian nationalists. And I understand the whole era of colonialism. I don't think that all Europeans who came here were monsters. I don't think that all of the land here was stolen. Some of it was. The Europeans also made many treaties with indigenous people, so a lot of it was sold and done legally. But yes, there were definitely abuses. I know all about the Trail of Tears. I know all of that. For however we got here, ain't none of us wanting to leave America. We all want to be here. Nobody's having to build a wall to keep us in. I keep telling you, every time Wellington goes to Africa, we tell him bye. A few days later, he's back. So, yes, skeletons in their closet, but still, in America's closet, but ain't nobody wants to go anywhere else. It's still, I've been all over the world. It is still the fill in the blank. You have to understand there are people in this country, and they don't even realize that they think this. They believe Jesus is white. They believe that white Europeans had a manifest destiny to come build a Christian nation, which shows a real lack of understanding history. Those founding fathers, none of them were evangelical Christians. Thomas Jefferson was like he would be considered like New Age and metaphysical. Was Jesus black? I don't care if Jesus was black. Did he look like a man from Nigeria? Probably not. But he definitely doesn't look like a man from Germany or Sweden. So he was from the Middle East. So he was definitely at least brown. And if you need a black Jesus, I'm down with that. I've painted many black Jesuses with locks and everything. Some of y'all know because you bought them from me. So I like black men. If Jesus is black, fine with me. I think he was more Palestinian than African looking, but definitely not like a white surfer dude. But there are people who really do believe that. And so anything that threatens that, they find very disturbing because they think America's supposed to be not just Christian, but like the white version of Christian. And I know y'all are like, yeah, we know. No, I'm telling you, there are people that don't know they don't realize that's what they think. Right. But that is what they think. Right. Or otherwise, they wouldn't be showing Kid Rock on TBN tonight. So, am I going to watch the Super Bowl? Yeah. Well, assuming we get these clothes out of the loft, we got to go. We got to go do that. And see, I've already offended Reggie because he said, "I need a black Jesus. I'm out of here." All right, Reggie. Jesus is black. Come back. Yes, I'm going to watch it. Yes, I'm going to believe that America's going to be okay. I just can't let that slide. That thing, that was like, seriously? That's not, because I'm going to tell you something. I voted for Barack Obama. I did. I know you're probably not shocked. Judah and I Judah's not as liberal as I am, but he went with me to the inauguration. If Barack Obama had led an insurrection on the Capitol, I would have been the first one to say, I backed the wrong horse. Sorry, I withdraw my support. I didn't know he was capable of that. Because I'm going to tell you something else now that y'all got me started. If that had been a Black Lives Matter protest on January 6th, there'd have been black dead bodies all over. Come on. So don't tell me that was a day of tourism. Come on. Come on. And some of those white men that took the seats there were using the Bible, using the scriptures. I was going to get into where a lot of that came from today, but I don't have time. But maybe I will next. Maybe I'll make this a series. It's like, maybe I'm going to call this series Rock Your World. Because when you start tracing the biblical roots of where this came from, it'll make you understand, oh, that's how people... Because this isn't a thing now that Biden, whatever you think about Joe Biden, I don't care. I'm not in the Joe Biden cult. Whatever. I'm not in a cult for anybody. They're just presidents. They're not people that God puts in office.
People put it on.
It's not. Come on. And but I tell you what was really bizarre to me is when Biden was still president. That when they would say, "Let's go, Brandon," it was code for F Joe Biden. And in white evangelical churches, they were chanting that during the worship service. Right. Now, let me tell you something. I don't lead worship that much now. And, I'm kind of in a different thing. If I was as progressive as I am, if I was in a worship service and people started chanting F Donald Trump, I would be like, guys, seriously? This is take it outside. You're supposed to be worshiping. But we're in a place now where Jesus isn't even top priority.
Right.
And people are afraid because just day before yesterday, the president addressed the National Prayer Breakfast.
Oh, good.
People who I know were there, relatives of mine are there. And he said, anybody who speaks against me, I will take away your tax exempt status. So you can be sure that today there are men standing in their pulpits who won't say a thing because they're going to lose their, and don't think he won't do it.
Right.
So I'm just going to say this. I don't know where we're going to be this time next month. And I have to believe something's going to work out. It always does. I'm happy just to go full-time streaming, but I still I hope a place opens up. And quite frankly, Judah will need a financial miracle for that to happen. Because he's bought all of this stuff, but he's got to move it somewhere. And he'll need startup money. And I don't know how, I'm just like, go with God, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we've been here 2 years, and it's been wonderful. But I have to live with myself, and there are people who support me that would not necessarily agree with what I just said. I have to run that risk because, come on, really? So,
Because if he was like that, he would have never come out.
well, exactly.
I mean, that's you'd have played the game then.
Right. Exactly.
You heard?
Yeah, you don't. That's not what
You
you
still,
think.
we still be a church in the now for Irish Drive. But that ain't the thing. That ain't the thing.
That's not what you want.
That ain't the thing. You know?
That's why we here, because it's the truth.
That part.
And
We'd
that's
rather get the
why
truth.
it's
That
this.
part.
Because, you know, we all would have still been walking that same walk and playing that same game. You see what I'm saying? But we all know the truth.
Yep.
And we all at that same point where you are, Bishop. We ain't got time for those games.
Right. Well, I'll end with this, since you mentioned that about where we are. Because driving here today, I said something about somebody who was at Don's funeral, and it wasn't bad. It was just it's just a thing that a family person. And I said, you know what? I don't want to let that out. I said I'm not a young man. For the rest of my time here, I don't want to have. I'm fine with that family member. I just said that because that's just something I always say. But I'm fine with them. I don't want to. I want to be. I want to be cool with everybody. I said once we get this house set up, and I get all my stuff. Because I'm tired. I told him last night he was trying to get the sound system to work that he brought and he finally did. I'll give him E for effort because he stayed with that. I would have already thrown that thing in the trash. He hung in there for hours. I'm like, okay, wow, he made it work and it's great. But I told him, I said, once we get this mom's bedroom made into the guest room, I'm gonna be through with projects for a minute because I'm ready to sit down. And he said, "You're the one that keeps starting them." I'm like, "Oh, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby." But I said, for whatever time we have left, and I said, I need to get my will in order. There's things I want to make sure that, if something happens to me, you're taken care of, and I'm going to tell you how I want the kids taken care of, all that stuff. I mean, am I being too serious? But y'all are all my age. But I said, once I get stuff set up, I want to live out some days in peace. Yes. I just want to be happy. Yes. I just want to be myself. Yes. I want to. If I've got a word from the Lord, I have an outlet. I can go right online And nearly everything I've done the last week has had 1,500 views on it. And so I have a continual audience. Hopefully I'll have a live audience. But I'm going to be okay. And he's going to be okay. And we're going to be okay. And you're going to be okay. And America's going to be okay. And Jesus is going to be okay. And we're going to get through all of this. And if good comes out of it, fine. You know what? If they made the southern border more secure, good. That's been a problem for a while. Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. But come on. That being said, we're all going to be okay. I'll end with this because I already told BJ this. And I said, why did you make me cry? My dad had his issues. He definitely did. But when I needed him to rise to the occasion and really be a dad, he never failed. He had some unresolved issues with his own dad, and I think I was a recipient of some of that. But when I needed him, he would rise to the occasion 100% of the time. And when me coming out was hard for him. My dad was very homophobic. My dad told me when I was 9 years old, if I ever thought you were a homosexual, I would kill myself. Let me tell you something. When you hear that when you're 9, it puts you through some changes. And I spent my whole life, I was engaged 4 times before I married Jared and Christina's mom. And then I was married to Debbie for 22 years. That's why when somebody stands up and says, gay lifestyle, I'm like, you have no idea what you're even talking about. But I remember he stood by me, hard as it was, he stood by me and even turned his credentials in to the Assemblies of God because they told him he couldn't come to my church because they said, going to your son's church supports the gay lifestyle. I'm like, you think my dad is supporting the gay life? Wow. And I would have never asked him to do that, but he did. But I remember these words. It's a simple phrase, but a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver. And when I had just people running for the door and freaking out, like, my dad looked at me in his inimitable voice, and he said, Jamal, you're going to be okay because you have to be okay. And that's a simple statement. But in my life, every time I've nearly given up, I would think about him because my inner child's still scared of him. And the thought of not making it, I just think, my dad told me I'm going to be okay because I have to be okay. So you know what? I'm okay. I'm living in a beautiful home that is completely paid for. When I sell my loft, I'm going to make money on it. If Ernie's right, I might make more a year from now. And if it helps Judah out for a minute, God bless him. That's great. I will always have money. I will always have an anointing. I will always have a word from God. My latter will be greater than my former. I will be a healthy man who leaves a powerful legacy, and I will leave the world a better place than it was when I found it. You can mark my word on it. Let us all stand. I don't have time for anything else. I got to go move stuff. God bless you. Go in peace. I adore you. What?
Today is the last Sunday before your 54th ministry.
Oh, is it?
And this.
Oh, is that what this is? Yeah, this. Thank you, Avery. Friday night is my 54th ministry anniversary. So, Thank you.
Bet to tell you.
It's the thought that counts. What?
Metron's finances did not write you a check because I believe that all of the people who are also learning to live who they really are and who are learning and being called to not be affected by the massive alternate way of being that you just spotlighted will bless you beyond measure.
Okay.
Metron as a group, from our
I understand.
offers. Didn't you?
Thank you. All right. Peace. God bless you. Go in peace. I love you so much. I will be back next week. I love you.
Love you.